Hi, it's Pearl again. Welcome back to Old, Retired, but Still Learning. Today I want to sort of take a little different turn and do something old, but something that also we'll learn from. I want to get a little nostalgic here. I know that probably most of you that watch are around my age, older, around my age, lesser or more, whichever it may be. But even if you're really young, that's fine too. I'm glad to have you here. We all can learn stuff. But I get very sentimental and nostalgic at times. So I wanted to start talking a little bit more about different years. I want to start, I figured why not just start with the year I was born, 1958, and sort of cover some things that went on in America. Did you know that in 1958, something happened that quietly built the world we live in today? Most people don't think about 1958, but maybe they should, because that was the year the future actually started. In 1958, the United States created something brand new, NASA. Now, at the time, it wasn't about inspiration, it was about fear. Because the Cold War was heating up, and the race to space had just begun. But while rockets were being planned, something even more important was happening quietly: the invention of the microchip. It didn't look like much, just a tiny piece of material, but that tiny invention would go on to power computers, phones, cars, and eventually the entire modern world. But while all this was happening, America was obsessed with something completely different: the hula hoop. Kids were outside, neighbors were laughing, having fun, having parties, and so on, neighborhood parties. But entire neighborhoods were spinning this plastic hoop, and it was the biggest thing in the world for a while. And maybe that's what made 1958 so special. It was the year the future was being built, but people were still living in the moment. No one knew what was coming. No one could imagine smartphones or the internet. I think about this from time to time. I have all of my grandparents are gone, and they never saw any of that. So I can only imagine what they would think now. 1958. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it changed everything. And if you're, old enough, what do you remember about 1958? Or stories that you've heard? It was also the year that Elvis went into the military. So just a little side tidbit there. But, obviously being born in that year, I don't remember that year. And some of the things that we went over today, I just learned for the first time. But what I want to do, again, with this channel is to go over certain years, and then in certain videos, go over those years more in depth, and maybe single in on a certain thing. Like when in 55, when they first coined the phrase rock and roll, or something like that. If you have any memories or anything like that that you want to share in the comments below, type them in there. and be glad to read them and share them. And I hope you find this a little educational, a little enjoyable. And we'll do more years. I want to even go back to the 30s, you know, and then 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, so on. I find things like this fascinating, and I'm kind of a nerd for it. I love it, and I hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, thank you. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.